Hello everyone, welcome back to the Techno Andrew channel. In this video I'm going to be talking about the new version of my LEGO combat robot Pegasus. It's been a while since I've made a video like this, a few years now actually, but I've basically just been focusing on other hobbies and interests and content, like my train stuff, but now we've got the new event coming up, Reading Brick Show 2022, so I've been putting more effort back into the robots this time, and really rediscovering my love for these things. So I started developing my LEGO Pneumatic flippers back in 2017, and that was for an event in the UK we had called the Great Western Brick Show, also known as STEAM. I previously made a spinner for that, but I thought I'd have a go at doing a LEGO flipper for a change. I didn't even know if it was possible to do one out of LEGO, purely LEGO that is. So my early designs looked nothing like this. I ended up building a robot called Sunny Side Up. It worked okay, but the drive wasn't so good, the flipper wasn't particularly powerful, and there was definitely some things I could improve on it. Then in 2018 I made a video, a bit like this one, where I went through the design of Sunny Side Up. By then I'd actually made some improvements to it, so it was more like version 1.5 of my flipper. Then in 2018 I redesigned the whole thing and built my second flipper, which was Pegasus, the first version. That one basically had much more power, both in the drive and in the flipper. It had an entirely differently designed frame, so it was much stronger. Had a different setup for how the valves were controlled, and also the compressor for the air was set up a bit differently as well. And that one did really well. I took it to Great Western Brick Show 2018, and also the Reading Brick Show in 2019 and 2020. I even got a few robots out of the arena, which was really good fun. However, those who were at those events will know I was having some issues with the first version of Pegasus, particularly with the battery. But basically it just cut out during a match, which basically meant it was dead, it didn't do anything, lost the fights, that sort of thing. And I also had pretty bad reception. These things use the Power Functions infrared receivers, and when we're in a confined space like home, it works fine. But in a large exhibition hall, where the signal doesn't have things to bounce off it, basically control was really bad, and you just see the robots either not move at all or just go off on their own without control. So those were the two main things I wanted to fix for the new version. Some other things I wanted to improve. When the old Pegasus flipped, it would rear up onto its back and it wouldn't go down again on its own. So I basically had to drive in a particular way to get it back onto its base, and that left me quite vulnerable at times to other robots coming in to attack. And then finally, the design of the flipper arm itself. I used to have just a flat base plate, which was good at scraping along the ground, but the way it was angled actually meant it was more pushing robots away rather than up. And I noticed that in real flippers, the ones you see on like Robot Wars, they always have a small lip coming out of the front of the flipper that's level with the ground. So I wanted to replicate something like that on my new version. So, without further ado, this is what I've come up with for the new version. The main thing I knew I wanted to fix was the battery cutting out issue, and I thought the best way to do that was two batteries. So I've now got two of the rechargeable LiPo packs, the Power Functions ones. One of them powers the drive motors and the valve mechanism, and the second battery is purely to drive the compressor. And I thought that's the best way because the compressor is always under high load, and so it's drawing a lot of current, and when you combine that with both the drive and the valves going at the same time, it was always going to be too much for one battery, and it has a safety cutout system that stops it overheating basically. So now I don't have to worry about the compressor putting too much load to stop the drive from working. So even if the compressor decides to die, I'll still have drive and I'll still be able to fire the flipper for at least the air that's left in the tanks. And that seems to be working well so far. To fix the control issue, you can see I've now got the infrared receivers right on top of the robot, where it can be seen very easily from all angles. I think that this will be much better than the old version of Pegasus, where the receivers were kind of tucked down just above the wheel gearboxes. So even if it's on its back or something, I think this will be a massive help in the arena. Since I was adding another battery, that obviously adds more weight. So I knew I had to take away weight elsewhere on the robot to stay within the 1 kilogram weight limit we have for the UK events. And probably the main area I've managed to do that is on the flipper arm itself. This has been completely redesigned from the old version, and it's now built from just the Technic style beams. It doesn't have all of the plates and things that the old one have. And as well as redesigning it to reduce the mass, I've also managed to include that little lip I was talking about before. So I've now got these forks here, which are at an angle, and they're sprung loaded as well, just with a little rubber band. That was more just because that was the easiest way to fix them together, but it does mean that the forks are pretty much pressed against the ground now, a bit like a ground scraping fork you see on BattleBots or whatever. So I think that will help a lot in the flips to actually sort of hook onto other robots and launch them skywards rather than just kind of away from the other robot. And finally, to stop the robot getting stuck on its back after a flip during a match, I've got these new pieces on the rear with the kind of rounded edges, and they mean that the robot always falls back down onto its base, no matter which angle you leave it at. And of course, if it gets onto its back, it can of course self-right with the flipper arm as well. And that about covers it for the changes I've made to the new version of Pegasus. If you'd like to know more about general kind of hints and tips on how to make a LEGO pneumatic flipper work the best, then I'm thinking about making another video geared more towards that. So let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. If you're coming to the Reading Brick Show 2022, I very much look forward to seeing you there, and hopefully we'll have some great battles. But otherwise, thanks for watching.